In 1992, a Japanese expedition traveled to remote Lake Tele in the heart of the Congo forest. They were looking for a dinosaur, a long-lost leftover from the Cretaceous period.
In the depths of the Congo jungle, a beast called the one who stops the flow of rivers sparks fear, looking like a cross between a dinosaur and an elephant. This massive, dark jungle, known as the Congo Basin, is alive with creatures once thought to be gone forever, echoing stories of a forgotten world. It's a wild treasure chest with over 10,000 plants, 1,000 birds, and 400 mammals. What hidden wonders are lurking in the shadows? Let's dive deep into the heart of the Congo jungle and chase these mysteries. The Last Dinosaur. Tales from the Congo jungle. Local legends often talk about the one who stops the flow of rivers, which many believe they have seen. It's described as a mix between a dinosaur and an elephant, and it supposedly lives in Lake Tele near the Congo River. But this isn't the most surprising part. Some scientists think this creature might be evidence that some dinosaurs still exist in the Earth's most remote areas. Described as the size of an elephant with smooth brownish-gray skin, it has a long, flexible neck and a tail as strong as a crocodile's. Locals say it looks like a small sauropod, a long-necked dinosaur from the Mesozoic era. Sauropods had small heads, long necks, massive bodies, and strong legs. Their long necks helped them reach high into the trees to eat leaves, something that was common in their time but is extraordinary to imagine today. Big footprints with 3 claws and deep impressions are often seen in the swampy jungles of Africa. Locals believe these tracks are proof that the creature is real. For the past 3 centuries, both native pygmies and Western explorers have shared stories of seeing and interacting with this mysterious creature. They talk about its unusual diet of nut-like fruits from riverbank plants and its preference for living in deep pools and dark underwater caves in forest areas. Recent expeditions support these stories, showing that these tales have been passed down for generations, making the creature a part of local legend rather than fiction. One researcher, Roy McCall, went deep into Congo's central swamps, thought to be the creature's home. He came back with a photo of a footprint that he claimed belonged to the Mokele Mbembe, adding more interest to the mystery of this creature. But this isn't the most interesting part. The Forbidden Swamp area in central Congo covers about 49,000 square miles, about the size of New York State. This huge area is full of legends, especially after missionaries showed pictures of various animals to the locals. Surprisingly, when shown a picture of a sauropod dinosaur, the locals immediately identified it as the creature from their stories. They had seen it along the riverbanks and in the deep swamp pools, even though they had never heard of a sauropod before. This dinosaur-like creature is said to eat the lush plants and fruits of the jungle. It's also known to have a tense relationship with hippos, with several tribal members witnessing fights between the two. Historical encounters with the Mokele Mbembe keep coming up. For example, a report from the Sunday Times of London in 1999 detailed how members of the Kabanga tribe captured and eliminated one of these creatures using their traditional hunting tools. But that's not all. In the fall of 1981, Herman Registers led an expedition to Lake Tele and returned with evidence of the creature's existence, including footprint casts, droppings, and an unidentified sound not matching any known local wildlife. The legend of Mokele Mbembe dates back to the 18th century, and since 1980, over 25 expeditions have been conducted in search of this elusive animal. A 2018 expedition included DNA experts who, while they didn't find definitive evidence of the creature, did discover a new type of algae. The fascination with finding unknown creatures and organisms on our planet was highlighted in 2016 when Discover Africa got a documentary from an independent film crew. The documentary vividly showed the crew's efforts to track the legendary creature through the dense, mysterious jungles of Africa, further fueling global curiosity in the relentless pursuit of uncovering the truth behind the Mokele Mbembe. For a whole month, researchers traveled across various tribes and villages to collect stories and evidence of a creature many locals believe exists. While many people said they had seen it, a few mentioned it might have died out over 10 years ago. Yet finding solid proof has been tough, making it hard to gather facts. In the Congo, where this creature has been reported, some tribal members said they used to hunt these creatures because they were becoming aggressive and had attacked people before. But this wasn't the worst part. Detailed information about the creature is scarce, and the most reliable details come from the research and writings of Dr. Roy P. McCall. In his 1987 book, A Living Dinosaur, he gives a vivid description of the creature. Locals still share stories about it, and these tales continue to this day. Interestingly, even though the locals didn't know about dinosaurs, their descriptions closely matched that of a sauropod when shown pictures by the researchers. This revelation surprised both the villagers and the researchers, showing a big gap in understanding and interpretation of wildlife in the area. In the Congo, stories of strange creatures mix myth and reality. The mysterious footprints of Mokele Mbembe. The villagers didn't initially claim that dinosaurs were living on their land. Instead, they described something they had seen many times. Only after they had drawn the creature, which looked a lot like a sauropod with its big body, long neck, and distinctive feet, were they told that dinosaurs were extinct. This sketch, along with their stories, deepened the mystery for the research team, who had hoped to explain these sightings as misidentified local animals. But there's more. Even after these explanations, a tribe member confidently stated their familiarity with the local animals, insisting what they saw couldn't be mistaken for any known wildlife. Among the strongest evidence supporting their claims are the giant footprints marked by 3 claws and deep impressions. These tracks, found in various parts of the Congo, don't match any known local animals. These footprints, often between 40 to 95 centimeters wide, suggest a large creature lives in the area. This leads to the ongoing debate about the identity of the Mokele Mbembe. With their deep knowledge of local wildlife, the villagers argue that this creature looks a lot like a small sauropod, a dinosaur that lived millions of years ago. Their strong belief in the physical evidence found support the idea that something extraordinary, maybe a relic from the past, might still exist in the remote parts of the Congo, waiting to be fully understood. In the thick, unexplored jungles of the Congo, local tribes and brave explorers often share stories of unusual animals that seem like they belong in a different time. One of the most talked about creatures is the Congolese giant spider, called the Jaba Fofi by the native Baka tribes. They say it has a leg span of about 4 feet, reminding people of ancient spiders from prehistoric times. Over the years, sightings of this giant spider have sparked a lot of interest. The first notable encounter was in the 1890s when a British missionary in Uganda saw a massive web between trees near Lake Nyasa. As he and his team looked at the web, long-legged spiders came out and attacked, trapping his companions with their sticky silk. But that wasn't the worst part. More reports came in 1938 when researchers talked to local tribes in the Congo. They learned about the spider's habits, like laying thousands of eggs the size of peanuts and setting traps near villages to catch birds, large animals, and sometimes even humans. The intrigue didn't stop there. In the 20th century, R.K. Lloyd and his wife were traveling through the Congo when they saw what they first thought was a large monkey crossing their path. To their shock, it was actually a giant spider, confirming the local tales. But the mystery deepens. This ongoing debate between local stories and scientific doubt makes for an interesting discussion about how much we really know about wildlife. These encounters make many believe that the Congo might be a lost world, a hidden place where ancient creatures could still exist, stirring both fear and fascination among those who hear these tales. Deep in the heart of the Congo jungle, locals tell a tale about enormous spiders that could scare even the bravest explorer. These tribal members, who know every detail of their dense surroundings, warn outsiders about spiders so big their webs could trap a person. If you see one of these webs, it's a clear sign to leave quickly. The tribes describe these spiders in vivid detail. They can jump from tree to tree easily, and their bright colors blend into the jungle's colorful background. Even with their vibrant hues, they are hard to spot, perfectly hidden by nature. They also build mound-like structures that are not just shelters but traps for the unwary. But that's not the worst part. Some explorers who heard these stories or saw the spiders themselves thought they might be an undiscovered species. According to local lore, these spiders dig shallow burrows near tree roots and camouflage their entrances with leaves, waiting to catch their prey. Researcher William J. Gibbons was intrigued by these stories. During his third trip to equatorial Africa, while searching for the elusive Mokele Mbembe, he met locals who shared their frightening encounters with these giant spiders. Gibbons, fascinated and eager to share these tales back in Canada, learned about the great spider from the pygmies. They described it as having a 5-foot leg span, generally brown with a purple abdomen, weaving leafy layers and spinning webs strong enough to catch large birds and even forest antelope. But this wasn't the end of the story. Gibbons and his team never saw these spiders, but the locals' warnings kept them on alert. The genuine fear of the natives made their stories believable. There was also a scientific curiosity about whether such a creature could really exist, given the biological limits of arthropods. These creatures breathe through a system that works well for small beings, but is problematic for larger sizes due to oxygen diffusion issues. Debating the Mokele Mbembe, another creature comes to light: the limits of spider growth and evolution. Oxygen delivery in larger animals, like arthropods, becomes tricky over long distances within their bodies. This slow transport means that cells far from the body's surface don't get oxygen quickly. So bigger arthropods have to work harder to get enough oxygen and need larger, more complex respiratory systems. Crabs and lobsters, for example, have gills that are much more intricate compared to the simpler tracheal systems seen in smaller arthropods. Spiders, on the other hand, don't have these advanced respiratory systems. They rely on trachea for oxygen, which limits their size. Another thing that keeps spiders from growing bigger is their exoskeleton, which provides essential support and protection. As spiders grow, they must shed their old exoskeleton in a process called molting. This gets tougher and more dangerous as the spider grows because the exoskeleton thickens, making it hard to shed. These challenges likely limit how big spiders can get. Some of the largest spider species today, like the Goliath bird eater and the huntsman spider, have leg spans reaching up to 30 centimeters. But imagine if these biological limits didn't exist. Some researchers think spiders could grow as large as small dogs, with leg spans extending up to 2 meters. But that's not the scariest part. Moving to the depths of Central Africa, we encounter the Emelantuka, a beast feared as the Terminator of elephants and often called the Behemoth. This legendary creature, possibly a semi-aquatic reptile, has a heavily armored body, a long neck, and a prominent horn on its forehead. Known for its extreme aggression and territorial nature, it reportedly attacks any intruder, including elephants. The Emelantuka is mostly seen near water bodies and is believed to be semi-aquatic. It's said to make a distinctive roar or bellow that can be heard from far away. People who claim to have seen it describe a creature that looks like a triceratops, a comparison echoed by local tribes when shown images of the dinosaur. But that's not the most mysterious part. Despite its fearsome reputation, proving the existence of the Emelantuka has been tough. The tribes of the Congo region, known for their bravery, claim that the creature, if it ever existed, might now be extinct. According to them, the last of these creatures was possibly eliminated in the 1930s when a man allegedly removed the horn from one such beast. This last sighting wasn't in its usual habitat, but surprisingly in Kenya, adding to the intrigue and speculation surrounding this formidable creature. But the story doesn't end here. A man has a rare horn, which people think belonged to a legendary creature called the Emelantuka from the Congo. He hasn't told anyone he has it because he's afraid it might be taken from him. The Emelantuka is known in the area for being very aggressive. People have seen it attacking big animals like elephants, which can't defend themselves against its powerful horn. Places where the Emelantuka is known to roam, there are very few large animals, suggesting that even the local wildlife is scared of this beast. The community tells stories about the Emelantuka, with some thinking it might be a creature from prehistoric times, maybe even a dinosaur or ancient reptile that somehow still exists today. But here's the thing, no one has found any real proof of the creature. Explorers and curious people keep searching the Congo, hoping to find evidence that the Emelantuka is real. This creature is a big part of local folklore and continues to spark the imagination of anyone who hears about it. But this isn't the only mysterious story from the Congo. Colonel Remy van Leerde from the Belgian Air Force claimed to see a huge snake over 50 feet long while flying over the rainforest in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. He was with a pilot and a photographer when they saw the giant serpent raising its body more than 10 feet off the ground. Excited and a bit scared, Colonel Van Leerde told the pilot to fly closer. They got so close that they almost entered the snake's striking range. They took several photos, which many find convincing and believe support the colonel's story. People who know the area and the photos think this snake could be a Titanoboa, a giant snake that lived over 60 million years ago. This idea suggests that there might still be living connections to our planet's ancient past, a time when enormous creatures roamed the Earth. The Titanoboa, the largest snake ever found, was first discovered in 2009 from old fossils in the Sarajevo Formation in Colombia. This gigantic snake was about 45 to 50 feet long and weighed around 2,500 pounds. It was impressively thick, with a body about 3 feet wide, and its head was roughly 2 feet long. This huge snake lived in a hot tropical climate with temperatures around 30 degrees Celsius. Its massive size and ability to squeeze its prey helped it dominate other big creatures of its time, like crocodiles and turtles. Unlike many other reptiles, Titanoboa could control its body temperature, which likely gave it a big advantage in its warm, lush home. Discovering Titanoboa reveals a world of giant creatures, the rise and fall of Earth's largest snake. The discovery of Titanoboa has given us important clues about how snakes evolved and the environments they lived in. This find has fascinated people all over the world, sparking interest in the time when such giant creatures roamed the Earth. The reason for Titanoboa's massive size is linked to the environmental conditions of the Paleocene epoch, about 66 million years ago, a time with higher global temperatures and more oxygen in the air. These perfect conditions helped the snake grow faster and eat more. The high oxygen levels were also crucial because they allowed the snake to get more of this essential gas to support its enormous body. This period made it possible for the snake to reach such incredible lengths and weights. Around 11 p.m., the Earth suddenly got much hotter, causing big changes in the climate and environment. Scientists believe these drastic changes were a key reason many giant creatures went extinct. Changes in temperature, rainfall, and food sources made survival tough for these animals. During the Paleocene-Eocene thermal maximum, a drop in atmospheric oxygen levels made it even harder for larger animals, likely leading to their decline. These climate changes also affected the habitats and food availability for these creatures, making it even more difficult for them to survive. For instance, as their preferred prey became scarce, species like the giant snake struggled to find enough food to support their large bodies. But this wasn't the worst part. Historical accounts tell stories of encounters with massive snakes, making some researchers think that some of these giant reptiles might still be hiding in the unexplored parts of the Congo jungle. One such legendary creature is the mamba, said to be a descendant of dinosaurs. The mamba is described as a gigantic 50-foot-long beast that looks like a crocodile, but with longer limbs, allowing it to move quickly on land, possibly faster than a human. Local legends say the mamba hides in rivers, much like a crocodile, staying under the surface until an animal or boat comes too close. There are stories of it swallowing whole canoes and even coming onto land to attack nearby tribes. But it gets even more intriguing. Indigenous beliefs suggest the mamba hunts other monstrous creatures in its habitat, mostly sticking to the deep river channels that cut through the dense rainforest. This fierce predator continues to both fascinate and frighten those who know of its legendary status. Not many people know how the creature acts because those who meet it rarely survive. The last time someone reported seeing the mamba was way back in 1930. Since then, no one has seen it. Even though it's been nearly 100 years, the tribes are still scared of running into this giant creature in certain parts of the rainforest. This fear keeps the mamba's story alive and scary. The tribe's people keep sharing tales of how big and dangerous it is. They want each new generation to be careful and avoid the areas where it might live. But this isn't the worst part. Every child in the tribe grows up hearing about the mamba. They learn it's a huge, terrifying beast hiding in the parts of the forest no one visits. This fear makes the mamba more than just a story. It's a warning to stay out of those unknown parts of the forest. The tribes respect and avoid these unexplored territories, deeply fearing what might still be out there. The legend of the Mahamba serves as a grim reminder of the dangers that might hide away, urging each generation to remember why some parts of the forest are best left alone. Some people think that the creature called the Mahamba might actually be a Dinossucus that somehow survived extinction. The Dinossucus was a huge crocodile that lived on Earth about 73 to 82 million years ago during the late Cretaceous period. This ancient predator was one of the biggest crocodiles ever, reaching up to 40 feet long, about 12 meters, and weighing as much as 8,000 pounds, around 3,600 kilograms. The Dinossucus had a large, flat, and long skull filled with many teeth perfect for crushing and gripping. Its strong jaws could take down big prey, like dinosaurs, which it probably ambushed near the water's edge. Its teeth were tough, designed to handle the struggle of catching and holding such large animals. But this isn't the most surprising part. Imagine the awe of seeing such a beast today, lurking in rivers or lakes. Its presence would be a direct link to a long-gone prehistoric past. The idea that the Mahamba, a creature seen in modern times, could be this ancient reptile suggests that we might not fully understand extinction as well as we thought. This possibility excites our imagination and challenges how we see the natural world, reminding us of the many surprises nature still holds. Long ago, creatures like the Dinossucus lived in the freshwater areas of what we now call Montana, South Dakota, and even northern Mexico. This huge reptile could grow to be over 6 feet long. The name Dinossucus means terrible crocodile, and it was a scary predator, likely hunting dinosaurs along with other animals like turtles and fish. Dinossucus shows us the fierce life of the past. Dinossucus, apex, predator of the late Cretaceous. During the time when dinosaurs were everywhere, the Dinossucus was well suited to its surroundings. With its strong jaws and huge body, it was a powerful presence in the water. This creature lived in many places, showing it was very successful during its time. Scientists think the Dinossucus played a big role in the ecosystems it lived in. As a top predator, it would have affected the numbers and behavior of many other species, shaping the natural world in important ways. But this wasn't the most fascinating part. Studying these amazing creatures gives us valuable clues about prehistoric life and the evolution of reptiles. Yet the Dinossucus wasn't just a simple predator. It had a complex role in its habitat, influencing not only the prey it hunted, but also the overall health of its environment. This giant reptile's presence in various locations suggests it adapted well to different conditions, which is impressive for any species. But there's more. The fossils of Dinossucus show that it was one of the largest predators of its time. Its ability to thrive in different regions tells us a lot about the climate and environment back then. Learning about these details helps scientists understand how life on Earth has changed over millions of years. The name crocodile comes from the Greek language, highlighting the scary nature of this creature. It was perfectly fit to be a top predator during the late Cretaceous period. With its strong jaws and large body, it dominated the ecosystems it lived in, hunting other animals with great efficiency. Picture it lurking in ancient waters, its eyes just above the surface, waiting for any movement. When prey got too close, it would strike quickly, its powerful jaws snapping shut with enough force to crush bones. But that's not the worst part. This ancient reptile wasn't just any creature. It was the ruler of its domain, controlling the waterways and instilling fear in the animals around it. Its fossils show us how amazing and terrifying these creatures were, living millions of years ago, yet still fascinating us today with their size and hunting skills. Even today, the crocodile's presence in our imagination shows how powerful and fearsome they were. We can still picture them in ancient times, their eyes just above the water, waiting to strike. The Dinossucus was a gigantic ancient crocodile that grew so large because of a mix of environmental and biological factors. During the late Cretaceous period, the climate was much warmer than today, and the air had more oxygen. These conditions were perfect for the growth of large animals, including the Dinossucus. But this wasn't the most impressive part. This terrifying creature had an incredibly strong bite. Its jaws could exert a force of up to 23,000 pounds per square inch, making it one of the top predators of its time. This powerful bite allowed it to hunt and eat large prey, including dinosaurs and other big reptiles. The Dinossucus wasn't just another predator, it was a dominant force in its environment. Besides its powerful bite, the Dinossucus had strong teeth and a muscular body, which helped it capture and eliminate all its prey. Its physical features made it a highly effective and feared hunter. The rivers and swamps of North America, where it lived, were ideal hunting grounds for this massive predator. It would hide in the water, waiting for the right moment to ambush prey that came too close to the water's edge. But that's not all. The sheer size and strength of the Dinossucus made it one of the most fearsome predators of the late Cretaceous period. It ruled its watery world with unmatched power, giving us a fascinating look into the prehistoric world and the incredible adaptations of ancient animals. The dinosaur called Dinossucus had a special skull. Its snout was wide and flat, and it had big teeth that could crush bones. This made it perfect for eating its prey, like the many hard-shelled turtles around in the late Cretaceous period. The Dinossucus was a powerful predator. It grew very large because of a mix of environmental factors and evolution that helped it stay on top during its time. Like other giant reptiles from the late Cretaceous, Dinossucus disappeared about 66 million years ago. This was when the Cretaceous period ended. Their disappearance, along with other dinosaurs, marks an important event in Earth's history. Many believe this was due to big environmental changes that altered life on our planet. But that's not the whole story. Learning about Dinossucus helps us understand more about prehistoric life and how ecosystems worked back then. These giant reptiles were not just surviving, they were thriving by using their physical strengths to their advantage. When the Cretaceous period ended, their numbers dropped quickly, leading to their extinction. This shows how delicate life is and how much it can change over time. However, there's more to it. The Dinossucus wasn't just a predator. It played a big role in its ecosystem. Its existence helps us see the bigger picture of how life adapted and evolved in ancient times. The end of the Cretaceous wasn't just about one event. It was a series of changes that reshaped life on Earth. It's not completely clear, but scientists think it might be connected to the same huge event that wiped out the dinosaurs, an enormous asteroid hitting Earth. This caused wildfires, tsunamis, and big changes in the climate and sea levels. These extreme changes led to many species, including dinosaurs, becoming extinct. But that's not the worst part. The asteroid's impact was so powerful that it changed the entire planet's environment almost overnight. What do you think about these interesting discoveries from the Congo? Feel free to leave your questions and thoughts in the comments below. Your input helps us grow our community and understand these mysterious findings. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates. What if this event wasn't natural but caused by an advanced ancient civilization? Let us know your thoughts, like, comment, and subscribe for more.